We're on. Hello there, so good to have you here with us for the Excuse Buster show, where we bust through the things that can get in your way of feeling how you want to feel and living the life that you want to live. I'm Lizzie Williamson, and this gorgeous woman next to me, if you have seen her up on your screens with her national television spots, including the Today Show and Nine Honey, if you have watched her up on stage emceeing some of the biggest names and brands in the business, or have had your video content produced or on camera presentation training done with Shell Shocked Media, her video production company, you will know that she brings to what she does so much honesty, realness, insight and humour. She's also the mum of the gorgeous little Mr. Barkley, who joins us here today to do some moves later on in the show, Shelly Horton. Thank you so much.
Yes, I am very honest. It often gets me in a little bit of trouble.
Does it really?
Nothing I can't handle, you know.
Yeah, exactly, I bet. You speak so honestly about your journeys with various things, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that today when it comes to your work, weight loss, body love, all of those things. And then once we've finished our conversation, we're going to show you some moves when you're out walking your dog, how to actually stretch out your body, because you'll hear about Shelley's story today from going from slamming her body to being much more gentle with your body. So before we get to that, I know you're also a mentor of several women in your industry. What is it that you see gets in their way or holds them back?
I think one of the best things about mentoring is it feels like I get to give back, because I feel like I've had some great opportunities. I certainly have not had anyone give me a leg up. So it is a tough industry, the media. You don't ever become a journalist because you want stability. I think I've had about 25 jobs, you know, in my career. I've been a journalist for 25 years. But it's one of those things that what I find with the girls is a lot of the times it's their own head. So they're actually incredibly competent. They're very good at what they do. And so I try and encourage them to try and treat themselves the way they would treat their best friend. And I think that's such a nice way of thinking about it, because I am so kind and generous to my friends, and sometimes I can be so mean to myself. And so I think that's a nice way of thinking of it. And I think the other thing is that I say to them is titles don't matter. I think the younger generation with your millennials and Gen Ys, who drive me a bit mental, they are so obsessed with the title, and I could not even tell you what my titles have been in my previous jobs. Like, it's not important. It's the job you do, and do that job really well. And then the final thing is work bloody hard. There's too many slackers out there. I'm not a slacker. I work hard.
And you had quite a journey with your work as well. You've got a real great kind of fake it till you make it story when it comes to your first on-camera job.
So I had worked for ABC Radio in Melbourne as my first job, and I was a crime reporter. I love a dead body.
Wow.
I love a crime scene. Not what most people would say. I've seen 7 dead bodies. So I did what most, you know, Aussies do, and I felt like I had this rite of passage that I needed to go and work in London. And so I got to London, and I ended up getting a job at a TV station. I'd never even been inside a TV station before. And it was one of those days where I had a very menial job of like just checking spelling and grammar of real journalists. And then I basically just said, well, I'm just going to give this my all. One day, all of the other journos were out on stories. Now, here's when you've just got to fake it till you make it. The sports presenter came in, and he was known for having a little bit of a nose candy habit. And he'd had a blinder the night before. So the station I was working at was kind of like Sky News in that it was hourly bulletins. And he presented his first bulletin, and then his voice just went, and nothing would come out. And so the executive producer, Virginia Troussard, such a brilliant English name, Virginia said, Shelley, did you ever read the news in Australia on TV? And I just went, yes. I had never, ever done anything like that. I had only done radio. But I'm just like, this is my Bridget Jones moment. I'm just going to do it. So I didn't tell them. I just went into hair and makeup, and it was a sports bulletin with really hard names and really like difficult pronunciations. But I just sat in that chair, and as the camera came on, I just sort of looked at it like, strap yourself in, people. We're going to be in for a bumpy ride, but we're going to have some fun. Did the sports bulletin. I made 4 mistakes, which is not acceptable with a 3-minute, sports section. But I kind of, fumbled my way through it, and at the very end I was rushing because I just wanted it to be over. I was so terrified, and I was just reading the words, and so I said Plymouth instead of Plymouth. Now the switchboard lit up, and it was stuff like, stupid kangaroo, what's she doing on our TV, or why have we got a convict reading the sports news. So by the time that was over, they had actually got a real TV journalist back, and they finished the rest of the day. So I only did the 1 bulletin. And then the next day, I got called into the CEO's office, and I was terrified. I didn't even have the right working visa. Like, I am pretty big on being loose with all of those rules and things. So I figured, that's it, I'm going to be shipped off home back to Australia. And he just said to me, so, you read the sports yesterday? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, it was an emergency, and I just helping out. And he just went, yeah, we've had a lot of feedback. And I'm like, I know, I've heard, I apologize. And he went, no, you know what? Everyone was making fun of you, but it wasn't actually mean. They were kind of intrigued by you. He said, so I watched it back again, and you know how they say that some people have it, or that X factor? He's like, I think you've got it, and I'm giving you your own entertainment show. At age 24 in London. So
awesome,
honestly, that was like beyond my wildest dreams. And so I also had free tickets to gig guides and movie premieres and theatre performances that I would never have been able to afford. And it was an absolute game changer for my career.
So you had that moment where they said, have you done it before? You said yes. But had you been doing anything to prepare yourself for that moment, do you think?
Well, it was always my dream to work in TV, but I wasn't brave enough to say it out loud, which I always say to the girls I mentor, if you can't say it out loud, you're not going to achieve it. You need to be able to say it out loud. I hadn't at this stage. But what I had done, which was the amazing thing about ABC Radio, is they have voice teachers come in once a week and give you an hour of voice lessons, which at the time I hated, and they were scary old ladies and they made me cry. But now I realize what I learned in that training set me up for doing TV, because it was about controlling your nerves, controlling your voice, using your voice to paint a picture. So that was actually quite incredible. Now I'm more about putting it out there of what I want and going for it.
You used to dress like you were going to go on TV?
So I had a terrible situation in that I came back to Australia, and I did get a job on TV, and after about 3 months the boss pulled me into her office and said, we've decided that we're going to get you to focus on producing, not presenting. You're too fat for TV. And I was a size 10. It's very hard to recover from that. I wish I'd quit. I wish that I could tell you, I stormed out of there, but no, I just went back and cried at my desk and kept working. The good thing was I became a very good producer, but my confidence was just shattered. So I ended up leaving TV and going back into radio, because that's where I felt safe. And I was a newsreader on Triple J, and I met one of my mentors, Alison Ray, who is still a mentor to me these days. And she said to me, you're not living your truth or your dream. Why don't you go and do a goal setting course so you can really crystallize what you want to do? And I'm an anal Virgo anyway, but it was one of the best things I've ever done. And part of what we had to do was to write a letter to yourself on the absolute best work day of your life, because it has to be a work day, otherwise it's like, who would be working on their best day? And by writing a letter to yourself, and you describe it from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, that's actually your goal. It's the best day of your life. It's really hard to write because it's a little bit awkward and you feel like you're blowing your own trumpet. But what I did is I'm like, well, that's my goal. And my goal was to have the Shelley show, my own TV show. And I'm like, that could be 20 years away. But what can I do in the next month, the next week, the next day to get towards that goal? So that's when I started breaking it all down and going, okay, well, within 1 year, I'd like to be back in TV. Within a month, I want to have my show reel together so I can get it out to TV stations. Every week, I have to be brave enough to say to one other person what my dream is. And that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And then every day, I went into Triple J dressing for my TV job. Now, Triple J is like ripped jeans and pigtails, and we call the police cops. So as soon as I went in, well dressed, hair and makeup done, it made an impact. And then I had to follow up because people were like, "Oh, if you got a job interview, or you go to a funeral?" I'm like, "No, I had my own TV show in London, and I've decided I want to get back into TV. So I'm just rehearsing. I'm just dressing for the job I want." And it was about 6 weeks after that, and one of the crusty old guys in the newsroom that I probably wouldn't normally even talk to, he pulled me aside and he said, "Shell, remember you said a couple of weeks ago in the coffee room that you want to get back into TV? A mate of mine is starting a new show on ABC TV. It's called George Niggers Tonight, and they need a health reporter. I've put your name forward and you've got an audition." 6 weeks later, I'd started my new job in TV. Kind of cool, huh?
That's kind of cool.
I'm like, that works.
Yeah. What do you think it is about it, apart from, I suppose, getting the word out there? What is it about it for yourself that really works doing that?
For me, it was about having something that I was accountable to. So every day I had something to do. Every week I had something to do. And it was, I guess, about being brave. And sometimes you don't feel brave. Sometimes you're just like, "Oh, what if people judge me? But no, you've got to be able to say it out loud.
And man, you say it out loud. You are really brave. And the issue of weight loss and your weight can be so clouded, I think, in a feeling of hopelessness, shame.
Shame is the biggest word for me. Shame, absolutely. I have been very open with the fact that I have struggled with my weight my whole adult life, and that culminated with about 5 years ago. I actually had gastric lap banding surgery, and I didn't tell anyone. I think there were 5 people in my life who knew, and I think probably the most impactful one was when I told my mum and dad, and I expected them to be really angry about it, and in fact I got so much compassion and empathy, particularly from my dad, who does not have a weight problem at all, and he just said, "I've seen you struggle. If you had not tried, I would be saying don't do it, but I have seen you do this, so I support you completely." So I had the gastric lap banding and it didn't work. Now, I don't know how it can just not work. I vomited nearly every day. I felt ill. There's a big chunk of plastic that sits just under the skin, and so even when I was doing weights, when the bar would hit that, I would almost cry because it would hurt so much. So it was a really miserable time, and in a year I only lost like 3 kilos. So it wasn't that I was melting chocolate and cheating or anything like that. It just didn't work for me, and I spoke to a doctor about it, and she said that maybe part of it was that my body was in such distress that it was holding on to any weight it could, because it didn't know what I was doing and when I would feed it properly. So I was pretty miserable with that. And then a year ago, it's actually almost exactly a year ago, my psychologist, Dr. Happy, who is Dr. Tim Sharp from the Happiness Institute, I love him.
You're lucky to have him as your psychologist.
Oh, I know. Well, see, here's the thing.
Cool.
I've been interviewing him as a journalist for like 10 years, and then finally went, can I see you as a client? And he's like, yeah, like that's what I do. And he told me about superfast diet. So he's one of the experts with the superfast dieting. And I'm like, oh, I couldn't do that. I can't go without food. Like, I know how cranky I get. Like, I won't work. He's like, just give it a go, because I've been working with him about my mental issues with weight loss. And so I tried it. And for me, I use the 2-day program. So it's 2 days of 500 calories. And then on the other days, you can have 1,500 to 2,000 calories. So the other days, you don't really feel like you're dieting. And it worked. And I lost 13 kilos in 17 weeks, and I've now kept that 13 kilos off for a year. And it's been incredible what I've learnt. Like, I've learnt hunger.
Yeah.
I realised that I actually have never experienced hunger before, because anytime I'm hungry, I eat. And if I was but I also eat when I'm happy, eat when I'm bored, eat when I'm sad. Like, that's just what I do. And I think by having the fasting days, I'm going, this is one day, just one day, and then tomorrow I can have whatever I want. So it just worked for me. And it also meant for me, like, I love chocolate. But what I do is I now have a caramello koala that I keep in the freezer, and I suck it and appreciate it and love it. Whereas before I'd have a family block and not even realize because I just shove it in watching TV. So I've kind of learnt to appreciate the treats as treats, and also just really starting to trust my body again, because I've tried every diet out there, but I would be like precision strict on it and maybe lose 200 grams. Whereas when I'm doing super fast diet, I have got results almost instantly. I think in my first week I lost 1.5 or 2 kilos. Like, and for me, I was just so shocked because I'm like, the scales don't do that for me.
Yeah.
Then I had another big boost when I had my blood test results back, and I had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I had fixed it.
So cool.
I reversed it. So by losing 13 kilos, I am no longer worried about having to get to that stage with diabetes where I have to inject myself before every meal. My mum's diabetic, so I've seen her do that. And so I've got to say that I wasn't really initially, I'm not very proud to say this, but I wasn't going, I've got to do this for my health. I really wanted to do it so I looked much better. But in the end, when I got those health results, I was just so damn proud of myself. And that's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So yeah, it's one of those things. It's just an eating plan I'd never tried before, and it worked for me. And I now have, like, most of the girls in the makeup room at Channel 9 do it too, because I'm like, is it a fasting day? It's a fasting day for me today. So I'm looking forward to getting home and actually having some chicken and some pickles and stuff. So I just have a small lunch, and then I have a fairly decent dinner.
Why do you think before that you struggled? And I would imagine you watching most of us here struggle with weight loss, with feeling good about ourselves. What do you think it was with you? Why were you struggling?
I think for me is I don't like feeling deprived.
Yep.
And I am a big one for rewarding myself with food and wine and chocolate and things like that. But I have realized now with super fast diet that I can still have those rewards in a smaller version and not feel like I can never have chocolate again in my life. And that's how I felt when I was doing, Jenny Craig or Light and Easy or Weight Watchers even, where I felt like I had to give up everything and change to this very set eating plan, and that's not the way that I normally eat. So no, it's been pretty interesting.
And have you gotten some other good tips from Dr. Sharp?
Oh yeah, look, Tim's so great with me because he's obviously an incredible psychologist, but he just gets me. And a lot of the stuff that we've worked on is my perfectionism. And so I was speaking to him saying, look, I've lost 13 kilos, but I want to lose another 7. So why aren't I at my goal? Why? And he's just like, what about celebrating that you've lost 13 kilos, that you've reversed your type 2 diabetes? And if you lose some more, great. And I will help you with that. But if not, how about that? When was the last time you had an eating program that you stuck to for a year? And I'm like, never. So things like that, just changing the mindset a bit, and just helping me realize this is a way of life of eating rather than a diet that I do for a short amount of time and then I yo-yo back.
So celebrate it. And he got you to write 3 non-weight related things or something?
So I used to have my weight and I would write it up on my mirror in my bathroom, and he said that was basically like I was self-harming every time that I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. So he said to me, would any of your friends describe you as fat? And I'm like, no, of course they wouldn't. He said, okay, so what are the words that they would use to describe you? And I'm like, loyal, brave, funny, smart, adventurous. He's like, great, I want you to put those words up. You can't weigh any of those things. You can't weigh happiness, you can't weigh loyalty, you can't weigh, like, so to me, it actually had a really positive impact on my self-belief, because we all have that really negative self-talk that just goes round and round and round. And it was just a game changer for me.
You're able to talk about weight loss and body love at the same time, which is quite a tricky thing to do.
Yeah, but I also don't want people watching to think that I've got it all sorted.
Yeah.
I'm a work in progress. I am still coming up with plans on how I can tweak and make things a bit better. But I think, I had a bit of a breakthrough. My husband and I went to the Cook Islands, about 3 months ago, and he wanted to take a photo of me in my swimsuit, and I would never, ever let that happen before. And I was actually feeling really good, and I said to him, okay, but obviously like approval process, I've got to make sure it's okay. And he took these photos, and I said to him, I feel really good. And I said, I bet there's a lot of people who may not be at their perfect goal weight, who aren't celebrating that they're doing well. I think I'm going to do a post about it. And so I wrote this post about that I felt happy. And I felt really happy. I felt proud of myself. And I was celebrating by actually having a photo of me in my swimsuit. And it was one of the most popular posts that I've ever done. And then, Nine Honey, that where I work, they actually just sent me a message going, we're going to turn your post into a story. And I'm like, I'm on holidays, you can do whatever you like. And then the Daily Mail did it, and then Channel 9 wanted to do a story. So it was one of those things where I realized sometimes it's the things that you need to hear is what other people need to hear as well. So I'm trying to not censor myself and not try and be perfect, but actually be happy. Like this guy.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Barkley.
So you've got the super fast diet.
Yeah.
And is there any other little thing or practice or something that you see yourself doing every day that makes a big difference?
Well, it's to do with Mr. Barkley. So I am a bit of a workaholic, and it's very easy for me to just be at my desk or running from meeting to meeting and just not have any downtime. And we adopted Mr. Barkley from a rescue about a year and a half ago. And we don't have an outside area in our apartment, so we have to walk him 3 to 4 times a day. And so what I was doing at first was like I'd walk him and I'd still be on my phone, or I'd be having a walking meeting and something like that. And I realized this actually was a really good mental health break. So now I walk him, and I sometimes have my phone with me, but I try not double dip and do something else. And those walks add up. So each walk is, 15 minutes. I'm not getting a sweat up or anything like that, but the mental break that I'm getting, and my eyes are better because I'm getting away from the screen, has really helped. And it's also just really nice because I know how much he loves it. So yeah, it's been a really positive. I recommend everyone get a rescue dog.
Oh yeah.
They're just lovely.
Has it changed your attitude towards exercise?
Yeah, so I think previously I exercised to punish myself. I would go to spin class and then do gym, and it honestly was because you ate pizza on the weekend, or I would punish myself because I was planning on drinking a lot that night, and it never worked. I don't think you can outrun the calories you're putting in your mouth. So now I really try and move to make myself feel good. And Mr. Barkley makes me feel good. Coming out into fresh air makes me feel good, rather going into a sweaty gym.
Yeah.
So I actually cancelled my gym membership, which I was a bit scared about doing because I was worried about not trusting myself that I would just balloon. But in fact, I haven't at all. And I just think, for me, being aware that I need my body to work for me, and that includes, like, I get a bit of lower back pain, and so I do need to, walking is the best thing to help it, and I do need to do some stretches and things like that, but I don't meditate or anything like that, and I don't like yoga.
There's different versions of meditation as well, and maybe that walk for you is a bit
like,
of your meditation.
Yeah, maybe.
But let's do some moves to help with your back. Before we do, Mr. Barkley, I've got some presents for you. You ready?
Mr.
This is
Barkley.
from the beautiful people at Doog. And Doog is Dog Owners Outdoor Gear. And I know these guys, they started up this company because they just loved exercising with their dogs. And so they wanted to get some things to make it easier, right? Okay, so what would you like first? How about one for you? Well, you get to choose what collar suits you, which one fits you there, and then you get some cool little things too, Mum. That's a little
so we can
pack
carry
there. It's gorgeous bag.
Oh, this is perfect.
And there's all like spots for your phone and your poo bags and everything. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Because I also just have things like where do I put my keys?
Little key spots. Beautiful little lead for you there, and also of course a keep cup for you there. There you go. So happy little presents for you.
All dressed
it's not
up,
all
Mr.
about
Barkley.
Mum. It's about you as well. Okay. So thank you, Duke, for those beautiful things. Alrighty. So you're out and about, walking your dog, and you see a bench here. If you don't find a park bench or anything, you can actually do these standing up against a tree or something like that. Often this lower back type of thing can be connected to having tight glutes, especially if you find yourself sitting down a lot. Yeah. So what you want to do is extend that part, and you do that by taking one foot up there. Does that feel all right for you?
Yep.
Yeah. And then take your hand and press that down there. And then what you can also do, which gives your back a nice release, is just kind of lean forward. There, does that feel nice?
Yeah.
You got it?
That's actually delicious.
Yeah, so you work that. Delicious. The delicious 2-minute moves. So you work that arm down there, and this is also a really nice chance, if you're not a big meditator, the idea of when you stretch, to breathe and just to follow that breath, and you can follow that breath as you breathe in and breathe out. Try and increase the stretch a little bit, and you slow down your breath, and just that slowing down of your breath is another wonderful thing for your mental health, get you out of that fight or flight, anxiety, that sort of thing. Let's take the other leg there, and we stretch, and so you know you can do these when you're at home as well, at your desk. But it's obviously beautiful if you can get out and about as well. So once you've taken a good 3 or 4 nice big breaths there, the other thing you want to do for your back is see if you can move it a little bit, because we're often in this same position, whether we're here, whatever it is we're doing, we don't tend to move very much, and we're often like this a lot, so we don't actually also move our heads. That's no good for your neck. So the twisting is a brilliant one. So you want to take your hands to the back, this one here, to the back there, and just take this one. You can actually have it on your knee instead. That's quite nice. Now you're going to breathe in and sort of lift up, and then as you breathe out, you do a gentle twist that way. So you do it little bit by little bit as you breathe in, and then you let yourself surrender into that stretch. Feel that? Yeah. Breathe in and breathe out. Yeah, and then you'd repeat the other way. This hand on this here. So you lift up, but your shoulders come down, and then as you breathe out, you really extend through and twist that stretch there.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why is it when you breathe out, you can stretch a bit further?
You let your body surrender. We hold on, and when you breathe out, it's like your body, you're giving it permission to go, oh, okay, I can let myself go a little bit here, and your body feels safer to let go. And now you're going to do a beautiful stretch out of this side of your body, which gets really, really tight. Pop your hand on the bench there, and you breathe in, and you breathe out, and you just come on over there. Oh, yes. And you stretch, and you imagine someone's pulling that arm away from you there, and then you lift up, and then go the other side.
Nice.
How nice is that? Yes. So the idea is to lengthen, to stretch through our bodies, which can become really compressed and tight. And especially when we're out walking, it's really, really good for your body, but it's really nice also to stretch it out as well.
That feels lovely.
Good. So all this walking, all this stuff you're doing for your mental health, what are you using it for at the moment? What are you excited about? What's going on?
So probably the thing that's exciting me the most is my company Shell Shock Media. I do a lot of media training for people who, it could just be that they want to present a speech well, or it could be someone who's got an opportunity to be on TV. So you get one chance at that. or it could be someone who's going to be doing more social media. So, you know, it's all different parts to what is now part of everyone's job now. You need to be able to sell yourself. So I'm running media training courses, which are 4 hours. And the interesting thing is, because it ties all in, one of the big things I do with them is breathing to calm nerves. And now I'm realizing I need to do the breathing just to calm my mind. But I have just come from a meeting, and I'm going to be doing an online version of that as well, which is massive. But I'm actually, now that I've mapped it all out, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So that means I can take my skills to people who may not be living in Sydney, or who need a program that's a little bit cheaper than a one-on-one with me.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So needed.
I'm a bit happy about that.
Yes, brilliant.
And honestly, that was like 3 minutes before I got here. I was in that meeting.
Just had a great meeting. We didn't even have a chance to talk about what the great meeting was. So I'm glad that you got to share that today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us. It's a real, I love what you've shared, because there's such practical, doable things that we can all do.
Don't be mean to yourself, and also try and fight that desire to be perfect. And also do a couple of selfies without makeup or something, you know, like, I just want everyone to break down the highly filtered lives that we live and be a bit more authentic.
Yeah. Well,
and I find that people connect with that. It's nice.
They do. And it's one of the best ways, in a way, that you can help someone when you are real and honest and share what's actually really going on. And you do that, and we are all so grateful to you for doing that and for gracing our screens and up on stage. So thank you so much.
You're
Miss
so
Shelley
welcome.
Horton. It's been so wonderful having you here, joining us for this episode of the Excuse Buster Show. What has resonated with you about this show, about what Shelley's been talking about? What is it that you struggle with when it comes to your body, or body love, or that nasty voice? We would love to start a conversation with you, so please do leave a comment there. Whether you're watching us live on Facebook, the replay, or on YouTube, we would love to hear from you. A massive thank you again to Duke for this gorgeous gear.
I can't wait to kid him out. You're going to be the styling puppy.
Also, speaking of styling, to Lorna Jane for giving me my gorgeous outfit. And again, for you watching, and for Shelley, thank you so very much.
Fun.
Oh, good. Get out there, get your precious body moving, and do those little things in your day that end up making a big difference to the way that you feel and live your life. We'll see you for another episode soon. Bye. Thank you, Mr. Barkley.
Oh, that was awesome.